It's finally time. You can feel your heart skyrocket as you rush to your seat with your newly purchased merch and you wait for the clock to count down to the arrival. The lights dim and you join the crowd counting down the seconds until the idols take the stage. The lights flicker off when their timer reaches 0, and the lights return, and there they are on stage, already coming out swinging. And it's almost like you're transported into another space and time where nothing else matters but here and now. That was my experience at the recent Fall Out Boy concert here in Oregon. This year has had its ups and downs, the main setback being that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which has come to restrict what I can and cannot no longer do. Big crowds are typically a huge no-no, as I could be exposed to germs that could attack my compromised immune system and I could wind up getting sick. So imagine my surprise when my best friend said she had gotten us tickets to see Fall Out Boy. I was thrilled, but it was all up to my doctor and if he thought my blood cell count was high enough for me to be able to go. He gave the okay after my blood work returned, viewing me as a healthy patient, and I was raring to go. Now, I've been a fan of Fall Out Boy since the early 2000s when I heard their iconic single, Sugar We're Going Down, off their sophomore album, From Under the Cork Tree. I'd seen them once more before by myself, but I was glad this time I wasn't going alone. If you know me, you'll know that music is a key component in my life, and it's influenced me so much I want to incorporate it as my career as a music journalist. My dream job is to work as a writer-contributor for Alternative Press magazine based in Cleveland, Ohio. The magazine focuses mainly on the genre of music, you guessed it, labeled as alternative. This can range from alternative rock to indie to screamo to even rap that has modern rock influence. I've wanted to work for them since I picked up my first issue in 8th grade. Funny enough, it had a story about Fall Out Boy and I knew I was hooked. Flash forward to now and I'm an avid subscriber to the magazine and still hope on eventually working for them. Now what they do is they go out and interview the alternative artists of where their new music is headed, personal stories that help fans go behind the curtain to give a look at who they are outside of their artistry, etc. And they've covered Fall Out Boy a few times since the one I picked up what seems to be so long ago. Oh, one day I can be the one interviewing them on their new work and my name be next to this new story of Fall Out Boy. Music is my personal outlet, and concerts are a place where I can let loose and let all my worries just disappear, if only for a few hours. I turn from a shy mouse into a reckless, head-banging, fist-pumping, jumping animal. Nothing can keep me down, and I can't contain my enthusiasm, especially when my favorite songs play. I've only been to a few concerts, but this transformation seems to happen every time I go, and anyone who goes with me always talks to me about it afterwards. A Victor Hugo quote comes to mind where he says, "Music expresses that which cannot be put into words and that which cannot remain silent." That's how music makes me feel, if that makes any sense. Normal words just don't cover what I'm trying to convey, but music always seems to know exactly what to say to express how I feel. Fall Out Boy happens to be one of those bands where I connect to the lyrics of their songs so heavily, and I think it's because they write songs for the outcasts. Pete Wentz, bassist for the band, puts it best when he explained why Fall Out Boy came back from their long hiatus. He said, "After being under a rock for so long, we started to listen to other music. We heard the songs on the radio about stuff like popping bottles in the club, which is cool, don't get me wrong, but we began to think, who's singing for the other kids? Who's singing for those outcasts who don't go to those parties, who don't understand that kind of music? And that's why we came back, to sing to them, to sing to you." Now back to the concert. If you haven't seen Fall Out Boy in concert, you are missing out. These men put their hearts and souls into every performance and every song, and they make sure that their audience is kept on their toes with their visual effects that they have. Pete's bass guitar was shooting flames out of the neck at one point. They played on a floating stage that I was terrified they were going to fall off of. And the light show was so visually stimulating, it was almost a competition on what to stay focused on. Almost. Fall Out Boy obviously won my attention. So when the show was finally over and the stage was being cleared, I couldn't help but to turn to my friend and hug her. To be offered this moment of bliss where I could just be normal, where my cancer wasn't at the forefront of my mind, it was more than I could have ever asked for. So to all of the poisoned youths and to the American Beauty, American Psycho, keep those fists held high and proudly wear your war paint, because we will be remembered for centuries.